What's the relationship in 2019 between estate agents and Rightmove?
Okay, so I think it's an unhealthy one. Quite frankly, I think it's almost like an abusive marriage. I mean, that's maybe a little bit off maybe not the most politically friendly way to phrase it, but I think it is sort of heading that way. In that, Rightmove either refuse to listen or just don't care about the feedback that they're getting from agents in terms of what they pay. Now, I say that as an agent who, up until this year, has pretty much always been in Rightmove's corner on this debate. I've heard this debate for a lot of years, because Rightmove's fees have been increasing at a hefty rate for a long time. But I felt like there was, before now, there was justification in terms of the value you got out of Rightmove for what you were paying, in terms of where they sat in terms of marketplace and lack of competitors.
Because 20 years ago, we were all paying £300 or £400 a week then, and £300 a week then is £600 now.
Yeah.
In newspaper, it's replaced newspapers.
Exactly. So, I've always sort of defended their corner, but there comes a time where they keep pushing the envelope, right? So last year we had an 18% fee increase. This year we've been asked for a 20.4% fee increase. I've taken out no new products. I've taken out no new features. The actual number of properties we've listed has actually shrunk. So we're marketing less listings. And yet in the last 2 years, my fees have gone up by approaching 50%. And when I go back to Rightmove and I go back to my account managers, and I say, right, you're going to justify that to me now. Really, their justification is more or less, we're Rightmove, that's what we say you're going to pay, so that's what you're going to pay. At least that's what it feels like. You go to them and, in the latest negotiations, we said, well, you're not our biggest lead provider. Zoopla are responsible for about 60% of our actual business. We looked at lets, not leads. Zoopla actually had a higher volume of leads anyway, but we're 60% of our business versus 40% from Rightmove. I think one of Rightmove's justifications for the fee increase is the new Rightmove passport that they've put out, which we were involved on a tiny extent on the beta with. To which I said to them, well, you've not rolled the product out yet, and it's not actually proven itself to have any value as yet. So you can't charge me for that yet. You can maybe charge that for me in a year or 2 years' time when you can go, isn't this an amazing product?
What is this product?
So it's working on the basis that you sort of get a pre-vetted tenant, but it's got a long way to go. The tenant's got to opt in. They've got to put in quite a lot of information. It's still not a bona fide reference. So as an agent, you'd still need to do your due diligence at the end anyway. But it's on the premise that you have a richer understanding of the viability of your tenant before, so you potentially avoid wasting time on an unsuitable applicant, which I think in some businesses will have value. In ours, I'm not sure it adds much value to our business.
Okay.
Our fall-through rate on referencing is tiny. But I think, with the pressures that the industry is facing this year in terms of, generally a tough market on sales because of Brexit and other mitigating factors in a lot of areas. And then you look at the lettings industry, which is under probably the biggest strain it's ever been in terms of regulation and the letting fee ban. I find it a little bit duplicitous for a company like Rightmove to be doing an online seminar about how to beat the letting fee ban whilst proposing a 20% fee increase to its agents for really exactly the same offering that you had the year before. So, I think, I hope it resolves itself. I've always...
How can it resolve itself?
They need to stop being greedy. And businesses can stop being greedy. there are plenty of businesses out there that, without being forced to do so, understand that they are operating at market levels, at market peak levels in terms of what they can charge their client base, and then add value by diversifying. Very much like we were talking about agents. Rightmove have often been criticised for the fact that they have very largely stayed as just a portal. And when you look at the likes of Zoopla and the array of other companies that they've aligned alongside it, you could argue the point that Rightmove could have justified that fee if they'd been a bit more diverse and found other revenue streams through agents. So you can go, yes, we are charging you 20% more this year, but that's because we're going to be making you 30% more revenue this year. I think that's part of the problem. I think too many agents feel like Rightmove have just been sat there, and it is just it's almost like they are sat there going, how far can we push this? With no real concern as to what that impact is on agents. And I think this year, of all the years, was a year where Rightmove could have had a really easy win to silence a lot of these voices. Is that they could have done something incredible, and they could have turned around this year and gone, in light of market conditions, in light of everything impacting the industry, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to freeze our subscription rates for 2019. Show the industry that you are genuinely part of the industry, that we are genuinely all in this together, that you're not just there to make as much money as you can, regardless of whether your clients win, lose, or fail. And I think that, rather than online seminars, I think that would have been the biggest flag in the ground. We're all in this together.
Thank you, Christian.
Cheers, Chris.